I have said this a million times and I'll say it a million more, okay? You need to know where they're coming from if you want a chance at stopping them. There is a meaningful difference between conservatives who support harmful policies because they think it'll make the world a better place and conservatives who support harmful policies because they think it'll get rid of the undesirables and thus make the world a better place. There are distinctions there. People who support broken windows policing because they are racist, explicitly or implicitly, are different from people who support it because they have misconceptions or biases. They think it might be more effective, you know. There are people who support, stop and frisk because they think it legitimately reduces crime. They're wrong, but there are people who think that. And those people are farther from wanting you dead than people who like stop and frisk because they like the idea of white cops getting to rough up black hooligans or whatever. There are differences here, meaningful differences. Still harmful policies, the end result's the same. The end result's the same now, but the more moderate conservatives aren't going to move on over to the crazier policies without a little bit of push. They need that push. Why do you think the Republican Party is pushing so much information right now about trans people all being groomers or whatever? Why do they propagandize so hard? They do it because they know that their moderate base is not going to get on board with their final machinations. They need to be cajoled over. They need to be pushed on over. It's a process that can be interrupted. Regarding that, how would you classify religious fundamentalists in the evil scale? If God asked them to do something, would it be evil to follow? What? I don't give a shit about God. If they do something wrong, it's wrong. You can't trust religious folk, though. You know, liberals don't want you to know this, but my positions on this are clear. Anybody who derives their ethics from, religious doctrine, you have no way of meaningfully checking their ethical positions. They could have a fever dream one day and be told by God that something is good when it's bad or bad when it's good, and they could act on that. You've been checking the midterm predictions on 538? Yeah, from time to time. I haven't in a week, though. Fiery Bush moment? Dude, it literally happens. Not to, also, you gotta keep in mind, right now, evangelical Christians are literally the greatest threat to all of humanity. Close. Not even close. Because they're the ones who are pushing the Republicans to completely stonewall any kind of climate change addressing. Because fundamentalist Christians believe that the effects of climate change are the rapture beginning. They think that you're interrupting God's work to try to fight against it, and that it's inevitable anyway. They're literally ushering in the end of the world. It's a death cult. There is they're like a fucking cosmic threat here. I mean, they're greater than anything else. You know, they're worse than ISIS, far worse. It's not even close. You know, my disdain towards religion is extremely well earned. They fought for my disdain, and it would be dishonorable of me not to award it to them. Hojier is saying this is the rapture. The idea that the idea that climate change is the rapture is not like a little interpretation. Look at fundamentalist Christian literature and preachers. It's like a pretty mainstream with them. I mean, they've been predicting the rapture like every year for their entire lives. The rapture is the wrong term. Sorry, the rapture is the actual day of happening, the second coming. What they are predicting is the crumbling of the world that precedes rapture, the bringing back, the end times, Armageddon. Yeah, rapture technically is like when all the Christ comes back and the whoosh and everything. Yeah. Can you show us an example of a hold on. Fundamentalist Christians, end times, climate change. I mean, I guess I don't really know where to show. There are articles all over the place about this. It's not like you can Google it and see. What evidence do you have it's reasonable to believe evangelicals and politics are intentionally coordinating this? Wait, what? Wait, is chat set? Wait, guys, I didn't realize this was this is like you guys asking me to show evidence systemic racism is happening. I can, but do I have to? This isn't like a subtle thing. This is like an explicit fundamentalist Christian thing. Chat, hypers if you know fundamentalist Christians who believe this. Again, we can go into it in a stream. I didn't think I'd have to do like a segment on it. We can. This is like the thing they think. They've been predicting the end times for the entire time they've been a thing. Religious groups are always doing this. So, of course, when the end times are actually coming, they would go like, oh, yeah, of course, you know? This is it. But Catholics don't believe that. I didn't say Catholics. I said evangelical Christians. This is a study showing evangelicals don't believe in global warming. It's not the same as being pro-global warming. They don't believe in anthropogenic climate change, as in they don't think it's being done by humans, as in they think it's the end times. The end times are caused by God. So if they think that it's being done by God, they're effectively pro-global warming, because they don't think it's something they have any right to stop. They don't believe the Earth is warming? What? They don't... Here, fine. Fundamentalist Christians, anthropogenic climate change. This? Faith and politics mixed drive evangelical Christians, climate change denial. Only 35% of U.S. Protestants believe that Earth is warming primarily due to human action. Only 24% of white evangelical Protestants. Politically powerful Christian interest groups publicly dispute the climate science consensus. A coalition of major evangelical groups, including Focus on the Family and the Family Research Council, oppose what they describe as the false worldview of environmentalism, which supposedly is striving to put America and the world under its destructive control. Are all evangelicals fundamentalists? That tends to be like the association. Yeah. Most I know simply deny. They simply don't believe it's happening. No, the denial of anthropogenic climate change is getting more and more common. The evidence of climate change is undeniable. So the switch to it's not being done by humans is growing more and more common. This confirms what you're saying. Here. I don't have like a list of sources to pull up because I've never like had to justify this on stream before, I guess. 15% of Americans think God controls the climate, therefore people can't be causing global warming. Groups that are more likely to believe that. Tea Party members, conservative Republicans, evangelical and born-again Christians, registered voters who support Donald Trump, Republicans, blah, blah, blah. So all like the far right, right? Groups that are less likely to hold this belief. Agnostics and atheists, blah, blah. Global warming signals the end times. Global warming is interpreted as signed by the end times, and 1 in 7 Americans, 4% saying this definitely so, 10% saying it's probably so. And then not sure. By the way, I count not sure with the yes here. I don't know what, like, methodologies we're using, but if you're not sure that global warming is a sign of the end times, that means you believe in the end times. You're just not sure whether or not it meets the definition, which means that, yeah, like, you're ambivalent on the subject. You just need more convincing. We need, like, a million more, like, brown people to die in fucking Southeast Asia. Half Americans believe that the end times are causing natural disasters. The severity of recent natural disasters is evidence of green, global climate change, orange, what the Bible calls the end times. Yikes! White evangelical Protestants, 77%, what the Bible calls the end times. And you'll notice a lot of them will still call it global climate change because they think that global climate change is what the Bible calls the end times. I mean, think about it. We're talking about religious people here, right? We're talking about God-fearing Americans. You really think they're not going to interpret the seas rising, the waters broiling, the hurricanes raging, the tornadoes storming, the air tumulting, the temperatures rising as the end times? These people see Jesus in a fucking slice of toast and they go to the news with it. You think they're not going to see the end of the world and go, oh yeah, it's a little bit like what the Bible said? I mean, we can do a whole thing about it. We can. I'll need to gather sources because it's kind of like a difficult thing to just pull up. It's not discussed as much as it should be. Pull up Pew Research. Link the Pew Research. I've never had to, like, on the fly look through this. This is just info that I've accrued. It's not something I've ever had to, like, jump in on for stream's sake. I'll show most Americans believe in climate change would give it low priority. Conservative Christians have long opposed climate science, saying human-induced warming goes against God's omnipotence. Use IPCC report, then link it! An affiliates say Earth is warming due to human activity. Here. White evangelical. Human activity, natural patterns, no solid evidence, don't know. More white evangelicals think that it's a product of natural patterns than human activity. That's like the flame catcher. Are you like a fundy? What is the defense here? What do you need? Jesus. The fact of the matter is, is that like a huge amount of climate denialism has come from conservative groups that are acting in bad faith because they believe that climate change is like the end times. Like, it doesn't take much research to find out that a ton of the anti-climate science media propagandizing has come from the same groups that back far-right religious groups and Republicans, and that oftentimes their like advocacy is done in lines with yeah, with advocating for like like fundy conservative political causes. Like, yeah, if you don't give a shit about climate change because you think it's the end times, like obviously convincing people that climate change isn't real is a good way at bringing over less religiously extreme people onto your basic set of positions. Yeah, this is the same reason why Protestant fundamentalists want Jews to control the Holy Land. Because they think that's part of the rapture. You need that for the rapture. Why do you think fundamentalist Christians, who are historically a pretty fucking anti-Semitic group, are so obsessed with making sure that Israel not only exists, but has, like, complete unimpeded hegemony in its region? It's all part of the goddamn Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood death cult Great Awakening shit. It's the goddamn rapture. So that's why we gave them nukes. Yeah, don't you guys think it's a little bit strange that we like dump so much money into Israel and provide them so much support and so much equipment and nukes when they're just like, it's like, oh, well, it's the home of democracy in the Middle East. We don't care about democracy. Since when have we cared? We installed a fascist dictatorship in South Korea. We did all over the world. What? Since when have we given a shit about maintaining democracies? Israel is kept where Israel is because it's part of the fundamentalist Christian fucking death cult shit. That's it. It's really that simple, guys. They're death cultists. They think the world is ending. They think God is bringing the end times, and they want to make sure they get into heaven. And they're going to destroy the world to do it. Well, this is more of a proper article. Can't stop and read all this. This is a lot. What do you want? Why would you just link me 8,000 pages of... Yeah, no. Look at the summary for policymakers. No, too much reading. This isn't showing me anything either. What do you all want from me? Well, that's the source. What can I say? Yeah, your source got 8 trillion pages. Can't pause the whole goddamn stream while I read through all this shit just because one person in chat keeps contesting this fairly obvious fact of reality. You're making a lot of assertions, nothing behind them. Are there like... do you have like fundy family members or something? I don't get it. I feel like the stuff that I'm saying, even if it weren't for the fact that there's like data to back it up, which we just looked over. I mean, we just looked at polling showing exactly what I was saying. What I'm saying is still intuitively true. Like, even with that, like, I feel like even if we had no evidence at all and we were just vibing it through, what I'm saying makes sense. And then you look at the evidence and it's like, oh yeah, that was true. I was a fundamentalist not too long ago. Vaush is completely right. Yeah. I know you're appealing to intuition. No, I'm not. I'm only saying that I don't even know why there'd be like an intuitive rejection of these ideas, given we've already looked at info on it, but... The evangelical voter base is shrinking fast, though? No. It doesn't matter if the voter base is shrinking fast. What matters is that they have disproportionate control over the Republican Party. It doesn't actually matter how many of them there are, because the actual work is being done by the legislators and the people who are affected by the propaganda that the legislators make. US didn't give Israel a nuke, they got it from France, sort of. I meant like the West broadly, you're right, that was confusing, yeah, sorry. Didn't they get some from, wasn't it like a coalition thing? Who gave Israel... nukes? I could just be totally wrong. If it was all France, then I was just wrong. France in particular that began building Israel's bomb. Later, other Western countries helped. Okay, so France kicked it off. Okay, sorry. Yeah. I simplified there. Ha. Oui. I think it's more people who don't have experience with evangelicals and don't get how fucking nuts they are. Yeah, people don't seem to understand, but, like, there's nothing that separates our brains from the brains of, like, fucking cannibal tribes or people who would light other people on fire for funsies or whatever. Like, there are political... Like, ISIS exists right now in other parts of the world. There's nothing about them that's distinct from us. Everything they are, we can be and more. And we can be more than them. Like, there's nothing fundamental there, you know? There are fundamentalist Christians who wake up every day, pray, and sincerely believe that they're, like, in the last year of human history. That's not a new thing. That's been happening for, like, as long as religion has been a thing. Humans have been doing that for thousands of years. Failed doomsday predictions go back, like, before the death of Christ. I mean, they go back, like, forever, you know? What do you think happens when people like that get in charge of governments? That's why I don't trust religious people. You have no idea what's knocking around in their brains. Kind of wacky shit. The flame catcher. This poll literally says 77% of white evangelical Protestant respondents call the severity of recent natural disasters as evidence of what the Bible calls the end times. I have no idea what you're going on about. I think this is settled. I'll stop responding to you. Read this out. No! Demon, we're done with links. What is this? Oh, this is Revelations. This is from the Bible. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways, and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of water, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast thou shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. And they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even though, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seed of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain, and blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits. Wait, this goes on forever. Hold on, I'm done. No wonder people who read shit like this are psychotic. That's the point? Yeah. Imagine reading this to a 2-year-old. Jesus. I think that people who don't understand how crazy fundamentalist Christians are don't remember how much of the Republican Party was bent on calling Obama the Antichrist. I agree fundies are crazy, but you're doing a lot of equating fundy evangelicals with all religious people, which I think is a little cringe. Nah, fundies are worse, but the underlying problem is the fact that they defer to mythology for their, ethical positions, which all religious people do, fundamentally, even if they say they don't. They have to. Because moral positions are informed by descriptive understandings of the world, and if a descriptive understanding of the world is tainted by superstition, it's impossible for them to make reliable judgments. It's okay, even if you're religious, I still love you. Does the Antichrist bring the end of the world, but they want the end of the world? I don't know, man. It's fucking deep lore. I wouldn't worry about it too much. The specifics, I mean. You're being mean to Shark? Is Shark religious? I didn't know that. My positions on this have been clear for the entire time that I've been streaming, by the way. None of this has changed. You know? Like I said, in an era where religious people are like the architects of our rights being undone, I'm proud to be a lay Reddit cringe atheist. How concerned are you that anti-theism might turn people off? Like, I can't care. It's an authentic representation of my character either way, so. Yeah, I need a nice burgundy fedora. Exactly. In some ways, it makes their prescriptions more reliable if you're familiar with the prescriptions they ascribe to. Nah, I don't. I mean, reliable maybe, but like not reliably good. Yeah, we shouldn't have cut the man bun. Chat's frisky today. Good. Excuse me. Maybe Zedhead. You tell chat to drink water. Everyone, drink water. Stay hydrated.